Dude, I really like this movie.
I know. I was there. And honestly, this one, I think it complements the first one very well.
I thought so too. In my opinion, I came out of this one, and my first words out of my mouth after the movie was, this made the first one better.
Yes. I would argue that as well.
Because there is a lot of my complaints with the first one where this world is so, like, I don't want to say it was strange, but so much of it's not explained.
Yeah.
There's just, and this delves into all of it.
Which I appreciated that a lot. I like the story of this one more than the first one.
This one is, like you said, much more musical.
Well, it goes back to, you had a theory, which there may be a little bit of validity to it, which was, I don't think Disney thought the first one was going to be as big as it was.
Yeah.
And
then
Let It Go was such a huge song.
And it became, they released it as like a sing-along movie, like 3 months after. It was like 3 months after the movie that Frozen had come out. It was like the start of the new. It came out on around Thanksgiving. The first one did.
Yeah.
And then by the new year, they re-released it as a sing-along, and you could go to the theater and they had the words. And
this one, where in the first movie,
and they're banking on it happening this time.
Oh yeah. In the first movie, it's, I don't know, it's majority story, and I would say maybe 3-4 songs. I would say 4 songs.
Yeah.
This one, I would argue, it's about half the movie is a lot of music, and it's nothing that's
typical Disney. It's storytelling.
It's
much like it's a musical.
And that's more personal preference for me, because I'm not a big musical fan.
That being said, there is a ballad, a rock ballad, in the middle of this.
That was the best part of the movie for me. Well,
I don't want to say it was the best part of the movie.
I don't know.
But what I will say is when it started happening, I was like, is this happening?
Well, because there was the guitar.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, wow. I was like, oh, this is like an 80s rock ballad.
And then it turned into an 80s rock ballad music video. Oh, and it was great.
And at the end, I turned to you, I was like, home run. Knocked it out of the park. It was great. Yeah, that was, and how... you're right. It starts out, you're like, oh, I guess this is just like an 80s rock ballad song, which is awesome to begin with. But it shows him singing, and there's a pine cone in the foreground, and then he walks up to the pine cone and he starts singing. And it's like, oh, this is just like those 80s music video where it shows him in studio, but he's super passionate, but he's singing into a pine cone. And there's a thing, he goes up to run and hug Anna.
There's different montage.
And Anna, he goes to hug her, and Anna disappears.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and it was I was like, oh, this is amazing.
It's really good. There's a lot of this one I think adults will like a lot more than the first one.
It's when it comes to the story, it's more
it's darker.
Thematically, yes, it's darker. And it's something that obviously the songs and Olaf and some of there's kids jokes. But the overall story is this is a fantastical kind of fairy tale that's not totally for kids, because it's dealing with war.
I have a buddy. Yeah,
it's
I have a buddy of mine that has a 3-year-old daughter, and she might be 4 now, but him and his wife are taking their 4-year-old. They're making a whole day of it, and I almost wanted to text them after watching this, going, just so you know, this is. It's darker, and I don't want to say there's scary moments, but for a 3-year-old, around that age group, it's darker.
When they're getting, specifically how, because there's this curse kind of on this land, and then what you figure out is that it was all kind of because of what the Arendelian people had done. They started a war.
All is fair except in love and war, man.
Yeah, and it's that's a pretty heavy concept for younger kids to grasp, and that was something. I remember being in the theater, and we went to a 9:30 showing,
and there was a lot of
there were a lot of kids and families in there,
and not only that, there were people ages 20 to 30.
Yeah, the people sitting next to us were these are college kids that are just having a blast, and it was, and that being said, You're right. There is some darker elements to it, but in no way is it a dark movie.
No,
it's just darker than the first one.
Olaf might be funnier in this one.
See, that's what I was about to say. Was in the first one he had his.
Well, he's grown up a little bit.
That is true.
He's learning a lot.
I'm mature. See, like, in the first one, I found him a little annoying at times. Now, I didn't think he was, like, bad. I thought he had some funny lines, but there were times I was like, man, I'm getting a little tired of this, like, he's so new, everything is so fantastic and wonderful. And in this, he's a little more they're much more self-aware, and the scene where he's recounting the events of the first one, because what you find out is there's an Arendelian army, and there's this like tribe that lives in this forest, and they've been
trapped there and have been fighting forever, and they're trying to figure out who these two girls are that have. The one girl's got the magical powers, so Olaf decides he's going to tell the story of why they're there. And
the best part is he's telling the story, and the people are invested. They're like, oh no! And it's just like it's really fun. And there's jokes that I'm not going to recount because I can't, timing wise, it just won't work for me to just recount it right here. But there are several jokes within that little. Summary of the first one that are really funny.
Yeah.
That Olaf does, and I agree. I would say he's funnier in this.
Olaf's. It's also funny to find out that Olaf thinks that the moose is doing the voice for the guy, and not the guy doing the voice for the moose. It's like, and your voice for what's his name is
for Sven.
For Sven is
just great.
It's great.
And for Kristoff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's Sven. He thinks Sven is voicing Kristoff and not the other way around. And that's really funny play on it. Like,
and also, and they do kind of like. So the jokes that also kind of landed for me was when Kristoff he wants to propose to Anna. And every time he keeps trying to propose,
it is just a snowball of unfortunate
it's
events.
Like, oh god! Well, it's not unfortunate events, but he'll say something, and they do a good job of showing how Anna is
little much sometimes.
She's high maintenance, and she
hears just like
one thing,
words.
and she's like, "What do you mean that mean?" And he's like, "No, I didn't mean that." And every single time Sven's next to him or in the background, like, cheering him on, like, you got this, man. And as it keeps going, Sven's like, ooh. Like, you can't propose.
And by the end, Sven's like, buddy, that went downhill quick.
It was terrible. But yeah, I did, for me, it was the lore. It was the backstory of figuring out, like, because in the first one, it's like she has ice powers, but they really, besides the trolls...
Yeah.
They don't really. There's nothing else. No one else is like magical, and it's like, is she really just that special? Like, that's strange that they would just introduce kind of that she's the only one.
And at this point, you don't know
really
you don't know that anybody else knows there's trolls besides Kristoff and maybe this family. But then, like within the first 20 minutes of this movie, you realize, oh. People know there's trolls.
They're kind of aware that there's trolls. Like, they weren't when they came rolling down the hill. They're not freaking out at like, why are these rocks now?
They just kind of turn and they're like, and then go back to whatever they're doing.
And it's true. But what I liked going back is that they show how like this world or this forest. There's the elements. There's the earth, fire, water, and. Earth, fire, water, air, wind, and then Elsa
is ice.
And which, spoiler alert, it ends up she's like the key to bringing them all together. And like the fire being is really cute. It's like a little lizard that's just stomping around.
Yeah, they were like they saw they didn't see Tangled. They realized how cute that was in Tangled. They're like, we can do this again.
Yes. It's like, we'll recycle this. Okay, we're good. And that, because I immediately saw that, I was like, that's going to be a toy.
Yeah.
To have, like, that lizard. But, I mean, you're right. And in this, it's also kind of cool, because there's not in the first one, there was a clear-cut, especially by the end, there was a clear-cut villain. And in this, the villain was like past events.
Yeah, the villain was what their ancestors had done in trying to right wrongs.
Yeah, and of course it all ends up in the end. Even though
white people are terrible.
That's basically the summary of this movie. It's like, white people fucking suck, man. Like, they're terrible. That being said, it's a kids movie. It's a Disney movie. I kind of wished. At the end, everything ends up happy.
Yeah.
I kind of wished the Elsa story didn't end as happily as it
Yeah.
You know, like I thought it would have been much more impactful if she had kind of passed for what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it's fine. Everything's happy ending, and it ends up fine. And I wasn't like disappointed.
I will say there are some adult jokes that take place in the final minute, literally 60 seconds of this film.
It's a BDSM joke that I was like, what? It's like, why?
But I mean, for parents, it lands.
Yeah, because we sat there and we were like, this is Frozen 2. And you're just gonna throw that in. And you're right. It's not like it's in the middle of the movie,
and it's not obscenely crude or anything.
No, it's not crude. It's what it is.
It's obvious
for kids. It's perfect. Toy Story did this. A lot of these types of movies do that well. Which is
obviously
for the joke.
To me, yes, Toy Story does it, but Shrek was
DreamWorks
DreamWorks is the best at tying in extreme adult jokes, humor.
But see, the thing that Disney, I would argue, does better than DreamWorks is that the joke, because it lands on two levels. There's on a small kid level that it actually lands. Because sometimes I feel like some of the
what's said is very innocent. But if you're an adult
old enough, you're like, oh, I know what they're saying. But like with DreamWorks, sometimes those adult jokes are only landing for adults. Like kids, it almost seems like
it goes over their head.
They're like, okay, like that was just a weird little part, and adults are like, oh man. So I remember thinking, and it's not like you said, it's not like at the beginning that happens. It's like near the very end, you're like, you really felt the need to throw that in
at the last
second?
I mean, it is.
It's 5
literally,
minutes.
I would say less than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to the oh, man.
But what would you give this movie?
I think it's about on par with the first one for me. While, yes, I appreciate the story more, and this is personal preference, I still, musically, some of the songs were good. Idina Menzel has got some heights. She can.
And they really highlight that. There's several songs.
There's two in particular. There's
where they let her hit the higher notes and stuff, and you go, oh, like
she's a Broadway, so like she can sing, and she can she belts it, and but that being said, it was like some of these songs, and it's just personal preference. I was like, I wish you could have just cut that out. It would almost just do it from a screenwriting story standpoint. You could have just advanced the story that way.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's Disney. That's what they do best. Is it's storytelling in songs and advance the stories that way. Yeah. And that because of that, I put it about on par with the first one. I think I would give this like a B. And like I said, it's teetering on like a B plus.
See, I told you like this is an A minus
right
for me. This. Is it great? Is it quite up there with like Zootopia and Tangled? No. But is it up there? To me, it's like in that Wreck-It Ralph 2 range, which I thought Wreck-It Ralph 2 was better than Wreck-It Ralph 1.
Right.
To me, it's like in that category, and another reason I give it such a good grade is it does make the first one better for me.
I will agree with that.
Like I got done watching this one, and I didn't have the feel to really watch. I didn't want
to revisit the first one now. And I saw the first one for the first time like 3 to 4 days ago. 3 or 4 days ago. And I do. Now I'm like, I kind of want to go back and watch
I watched that one, and I was tempted. I was like, because we got out, it was late, it was midnight, and I was like, I kind of want to watch the first one.
I was ready to go to bed.
No, I really was. I was like, I want to see that now, because I think this one does make the first one a whole lot better. But that to me adds to my A minus grade, is that they were able to tie up all of that.
And it's not really like loose ends. It was just
I also think if they do make a sequel to this one, it will be one of those straight to DVD sequels. Because to me, this ties everything up.
I don't think so, because we're reviewing this on Sunday. Mm-hmm. I saw an article before I came over here. It was $130 million opening. It shattered like November.
Real talk though, Disney shatters every opening it has.
My point is that if they know that they're going to make this much money off of Frozen,
well, I'm saying this isn't like Pixar with Toy Story, where it broke up and you're like, yeah, they may have ended this Toy Story world, but now they have like 2 or 3 different stories going on that you could theoretically make movies off of.
Right.
This, to me, I think the story that is what they're telling has ended, and if they do make another one, it will be completely the story will be completely different.
It might almost be like it's about Olaf, or it's about Sven, or something, because they actually kind of make note in this movie about how we're done. They say something like it's the end, or it's finished.
And that happens right before the adult jokes.
Yeah. They're like, oh, I guess they're opening up something new.
Yeah.
Rated R Frozen 3. That'd be crazy.
Dang.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, it was not like going to see it in theaters. Like, it was nice seeing it in theaters. We saw it in IMAX, and it again and for a musical, the music was good too. Like, because that's my problem.
There are some more emotional parts to this too. Well, not only is it darker, there are some things that happen in this movie that tug at emotions.
It's because,
in my opinion, the first one never even.
Well, it did at the end of the first one, but in this one, it's really about sisterhood, and what they really are driving home is about how they have rekindled their friendship, their sisterhood, their being sisters. And a part of the story is how they do need to kind of go their own way. And Anna in particular is having a hard time dealing with that.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it's that feeling of, we just started having this wonderful relationship, and now you're telling me that you have to kind of go do your own thing.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's sad, because it's something that's like, it's Elsa's right, but you feel for Anna. Mm-hmm. So. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would recommend going and see it, especially if you have kids. I think
for sure.
If you enjoy it, the kids would definitely enjoy it.
If you've got kids that saw the first one and liked it, you take them to go see this. And I thought this looked really good. We saw it in IMAX.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's about what I expected. I in no way thought it was going to be trash or bad, it was a sequel to a very popular first movie that. Mm-hmm. And they just followed it up. It's literally the definition of, if you like the first one, you like the second one.
Yeah,
like plain and simple. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was our review of Frozen 2, and just we'll catch you next time with our take.